What's the Story with Mr. McGrory. Welcome to week 2 of Numeracy News. This week we are doing the addition of decimals. Mr. Watton is going to show you how to do this the SWB way. Over to you, Mr. Watton.
In front of you is a sheet with 4 questions. This is going to be the SW way to add decimal numbers. So you're going to fill them in as I go through. Okay? You can do it on that page. So let's start off. Let's begin. We've got 10 minutes. So question 1. 0.87 add 32. On the left is how it's done correctly. You're going to write this one onto your sheet. This is an example of someone doing it incorrectly. So let's begin. Watch the board, listen to my voice, do the questions. Okay? So step 1. I've got to put the numbers into a column. Notice that I'm going to put them in line. Now, there is no decimal point here, but that's a unit and that's a unit. So that's where the 2 will go and the 3 will go there. So what I've got to do now is add all of that up. But hang on a moment, I forgot my next step. There are gaps everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 0 wherever I see a gap. So it's easier for me to add. Notice I've spaced it out and notice that the decimal points are in line. Just to show you the things that I've added in from the question that weren't originally there, I've highlighted. Okay, now I'm going to do step 3. I'm going to start from the right and add up that column, the first one on the right, and then work back to the ones on the left. 7 add 0 is 7. 8 add 0 is 8. 0 add 2 is 2. And 0 add 3 is 3. I'll put the decimal point back in and there's my answer. 32.87. I will just before I finish, I will check again my adding to make sure it's right and then write my final answer at the bottom. 7 add 0 is 7. 8 add 0 is 8. 0 add 2 is 2. And 0 add 3 is 3. So I know that my final answer is 32.87. That's the first example of how to do adding decimals the SWB way. On the right is an example of somebody doing it incorrectly. You can spot almost straight away what they've forgotten to do. They haven't lined up the columns correctly. 32 is in the column of the units and in the decimal tenths. That's not right. They have forgotten to line up the columns. That's a mistake. Question 1 done. Hope you've wrote it down. Let's do question 2 together. So, question 2. 46.3 add 9.87. On the left is the right way, on the right is the wrong way. So, first of all, step 1, put the numbers into a column. Line up the decimal points. 9.87. Now, I've got some gaps, so I'm going to fill them with a 0 so I can make sure it's neat and tidy. 0 add 7 is 7. 3 add 8 is 11. Oh dear, I've got 11. I can't put 11 in that column, so I'm going to have to put the unit digit there, the 1, and the tens digit across into the next column. This one will show you a little bit more about what I've done. 6 add 9 is 15. Add 1 is 16. The units digit goes in the column. The tens digit goes across. 4 add 0 is 4. Add 1 is 5. I've now done that, but I'm going to check again just to make sure I've added the digits up right. 0 add 7 is 7. 3 add 8 is 11. The units digit goes there. The tens digit goes to the next column. 6 add 9 is 15. Add 1 is 16. The units digit goes in the column. The tens digit goes to the next column. 4 add 0 is 4. add 1 is 5. I've got my adding right, so I'm now going to write my answer underneath. Now the one on the right, you can see that they've done it wrong. What they've done this time is they've ignored the decimal points and remembered a rule for another skill, which is to ignore the decimal and just add them up. This is wrong. They are not lined up, and therefore they get a really weird answer, 1450. They then panic and put the decimal point somewhere to make sure that they've got a decimal point in it. Remember step 1, line up the numbers so the decimals are in line. That's question 2 done. Question 3 now. Make sure you're writing these down, okay? Here's the next one. Here's a mistake that somebody's done. 3.985. Add. But this time I'm going to have to add 423. 423.6. Notice I've had to line up the numbers by the decimal point. Step 2. By now you should know what it is. If there's a gap, put a 0. To show you what I've added, I'm going to highlight them to show you I've added them in. This helps to keep the columns in line and neat. Step 3, starting from the right, we're going to add these up. 5 add 0 is 5. 8 add 0 is 8. 9 add 6 is 15. Before I finish, I'm going to check to see if this works. And I've done the adding right. 5 add 0 is 5. 8 add 0 is 8. 9 add 6 is 15. The unit digit goes in the column, the tens digit goes across. 3 add 3 is 6, add 1 is 7. 0 add 2 is 2, and 0 add 4 is 4. I'll therefore write my answer, which is 427.585. Now let's have a look at the one on the right and see what they've done. Again, it's a mistake. The big mistake is always to not line up the numbers by the decimal point. They've not lined it up, so it becomes the incorrect working out. If you don't line it up, you will make a mistake. That is the most important thing to remember. This is the SWB way. We don't want to see it done in your head, and we don't want to see it done in different ways. This is the way we want to see. Right, question 4, the last one that I'm going to show you before we actually move on and try another question. So, question 4. Question 4, you can see that on the right I've done an incorrect answer twice, and on the left I'm going to do it correctly. So 30.7, and then add 249.34. Now that's a little bit out of the way, so I'm going to scribble that out and make it a bit closer. So next, if there's gaps, I'm going to add some zeros. 0, 0, and put the gaps in. So my answer will be 280.04. So I will write it again just to make sure that I've got the right answer. Now let's have a look on the right just to see 2 other mistakes. Firstly, this way of doing it, whilst can be mathematically correct, is not the SWB way. We don't want you to lay it out like this. Your teachers will teach it this way in mathematics. Please do not do it this way. As you can see, there is more chance of you making an error. Also, this shows you again that even if you get some of it right, it is not the correct method. We don't want that to be this way. We want it to be the SWB way.
So, now that I've shown you what to do, it is over to you. Pencils and pens at the ready. Off you go.